recording. Final project is this thing here, which I think you've seen, right? Which is, all right, so this is the thing with the problem with Zoom is I end up with so many little windows on my screen that it becomes kind of almost to the point of being annoying. My apologies. All right, so your final project is this thing. There's a link to it on today's news feed. And so what you have to do is you have to make something which is of your choice. So don't do this one because but it could be something similar. It could be something similar. To be fair, you could probably take most of the code that we're doing today and sort of change names and addresses and images and just do them slightly differently with different images and different words. And then it could be something like that. Now, there are some things that you have to make that we might not do. You have to have a page which just has links in it. That's going to be all A tags. You have to have a page which has video links, okay? And so you're going to have to figure out how to do that yourself. There is a tag called a video tag. So I'm not going to show you that. That's kind of you do the research on that. But there is a HTML tag called a video tag. So you need to put a video into. So I mean, it could just be a reference to a video in somewhere else. So it says here embedded links. You need to YouTube videos. Yeah, okay. So there is a tag to do that, and I'll let you find that out yourself. And yeah, basically there's a contact me page. Contact me page is pretty much like what we're looking at right here in this exercise. So I hope that answers that question, which is are we looking at the project? We're not looking at the project specifically right now, but we're looking at something which is kind of like, if you were able to do this exercise, the project shouldn't be too hard for you. So you're going to build something like this. It's going to have a menu at the top of a bunch of pages. One page is going to have a form in it. The other page is just going to have pictures. Pretty simple. That's what we're going to do. So how does that look? As I was saying, if you look at the, if you look at, you're going to have a folder which holds everything that you do. And then inside that folder, you can have a bunch of other folders. One folder is going to be CSS. Inside that folder, you're going to have a style page. And hopefully you've got an idea how to do that. Should have an images folder where you're keeping all the images that you need. Oh, I've got some here that look like they came from somewhere else, but that's fine. Then we've got pages for our HTML. And we got a special one for our about an action page there too. So because we've got a form. All right, so let's have a look at how this proceeds. If I look at the index page, which is the page, I think that's the page that we're looking at now. We can make, sorry about this. Goodness gracious. Zoom is not my favorite thing, but what to do. All right, so you can tell probably here this says the sports page, but I would have to, yeah, okay. So the link to it is so long, but I think this is our index.html page. Let's have a look and see what that index.html page looks like. So how we would do that is just to right click on it and open it in our editor. And then we'll know for sure which one it is. Okay, taking a bit of time, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Visual Studio does take a bit of time to start up first time. Next time I open up a page, it'll be a bit faster. Sorry about this. Come on, yellow. Because I guess it's got a few things to open up besides just, it's got other stuff that I've done previously. All right, so this is the index page that we're looking at here, I believe. And we can tell by looking at this welcome. Does it say, okay, that's the nav page. Welcome to sports page. Yes, we are a sports club. Yeah, this is the one. And so how does that work? Hopefully you're able to do this. Now I am just videoing this. You'll have to look at this video, I think, to be able to do this, but This is this is where I would start. I would start with this index page. Hopefully we can go through this and you can see what we've got. In the head, the important parts there is we've got a link. The link is to the style sheet. Now, I would actually edit that, just put that, that's going to be more obvious what's happening there, right? So so by doing this, starting from this directory, go into the CSS directory, that's going to work nicely. And likewise with these other things, I think I would do that. So the index is just where we are now. That's that one. The sports page, that's again is where we are now. So that's in the sports directory. And yeah, okay, tennis, that's that one. And then we've got the football one, which is going to be again in the sports directory, and it's the football one. That's working out nicely. Then the about one is going to be in the about folder, and it's the about one. So what have we done? This is a fairly simple thing. Do you see the two nav tags? Inside the body, we've got nav tags with a bunch of A tags, and the A tags, that gives us this at the top of the page, this navigation menu. So the navigation menu is there at the top of the page. We put some non-breaking spaces in there so that it doesn't go to a new page. Sorry, to a new line, but we got a little bit of space between each of those menu options. You can do it differently if you like, but that's how this one has been styled. Okay, so that's our nav, and our nav is just there. Now, we haven't done anything special with the nav styling. You might decide that you want to, especially for your project. But for this exercise, which is just kind of like a practice exercise, there's not much to it. Now, notice that we've got some big writing here. Welcome to the sports page. And that should be obvious why that is, because what we've got is we've got an H1. So H1 gives us our big text. Seems that this is all inside a paragraph tag, which is kind of strange. But yeah, all of this is one paragraph, so that we can use a P tag to do styling here if we wanted to do any styling. We've got an ordered list. I don't know if we've used an ordered list before. We've used the unordered list, UL. You notice that this one is different, it's OL. And then we've actually specified the type of the list to be Roman numerals. That's what that big capital I stands for. And that's why we have 1I, 2I, 3I. That's the way we're doing that. Now, if we changed it to a different type, we could do ABC, we could do 1, 2, 3, but this is the way it is in this one. So that's that. There's not much to it, is there? Then we've got a footer, and the footer has just got some text in it. And that's there at the bottom. So that's our main page. It's fairly simple. What makes it work? How's it got the green color, etc.? Because we can't see the green color here. So it must be something to do with the style sheet. So if we want to see how we've styled this page, we better go and have a look at the style sheet. And so if I go back into the directory structure, I can see that that style sheet is in the CSS directory. So you're going to have to create this directory and then create this style sheet. I'm going to right click and open that in the editor so that we can see it. All right, so any file that links to this CSS is going to do this. It's going to give the background color like that. We can see that background color there. And it's going to give the color of the text like this, which is not exactly black, but it's kind of like a really dark green. And so that's why we're seeing this colored stuff here. Every bit of text that's inside the body tags is going to have that. So body tags are here. All of that text between there and there should be dark green, and it is. I mean, the only one that isn't dark green is our nav. And so why is that? Well, let's see if we can see. Have we done anything with the nav? No, we haven't. Oh, it's because it's a hyperlink. Hyperlink automatically styles to that underlined and blue color. Okay, so your H1 tag, again, we're using a slightly different color for that. It's kind of a green color, but it's just slightly lighter. And we've done a margin left of 40 pixels. The margin left 40 pixels, that gives this bit of space out here to the left of the word. So that's what that was. I don't know if we've used these margin left, margin right before, so it's kind of good for us to look at them. Now, this stuff isn't affecting this page because there's no table. All right, but you'll see that we link this CSS to another page, and you saw in the contact page, it has a table in it. So in the contact page, this is going to affect in the contact page. And we'll talk about, well, yeah, so let's look at the rest of this stuff only affects the contact page because it's only the contact page that has a table in it. There's no table here. So this one here, the only effect that we're getting from our CSS is basically some colors and a margin. Right, so that's that one. That's the first page to look at. Let's just look back at it again. So maybe there's some questions on it. I hope not. Oh, I don't mean that. Sorry, I don't mind questions. What I mean is I hope that it's clear. There we go. So we've got a list. Other stuff is pretty basic, right? So the list was an ordered list. That's it. So let's look at the other pages then. There's a tennis page. How do we get to the tennis page? If we look in our, go back to the root directory, in the sports directory, there's a tennis page there. And if we looked in the index on the menu, yeah, so the tennis page was here. What it says is go to the sports directory and open up the tennis. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the sports directory and look at the tennis. I'm going to right click and open it with my code. And so here's the tennis. It's fairly simple. I mean, basically, you got the link is the same, but this time, oh, there is a little bit of difference in the link, right? In the index page, the link had a single dot because, and that's because of the structure of our website folders. From the index, we get to the CSS by navigate from the directory where we are back to the CSS, and then you find the thing that you want. But from the sports directory, we first have to go to the parent. And so that's what this 2 dots means. It means go to the parent, then from the parent, go to the CSS, and then in the CSS, you're going to find the style file that holds the styling for this. And we were talking about that styling a minute ago. If we look at our styling, all it's going to do for us, because there's no table in this tennis, it's got no table in it. It's very, very simple. It's got an image is all. It's got no table. So it's very, very simple. The only styling effect is going to be on the background color and the color of our H1. So that's a pretty simple one. You do have to put an image in this, so that's different than the previous page, but you should know how to do an image tag by now. So that also means that we had to create an images directory and put some files in the images directory. So if we go back and look at our directory structure, you'll see that we do have an images directory and we got a bunch of files there. They say, so we've got the ones that they're referencing is a football one and the tennis one. And actually should also reference the about one, but the about one's in a different directory, right? The about one's in the about directory. So this about page there. So we've got here our now again, isn't this different, right? Look, the tennis and the football do not use the dot. And why is that? Because navigating from the tennis file, you just go, you don't need to go to any parent directory or anything like that. You're in the correct directory. Now I would have done this like this, but it wouldn't matter, right? I mean, I just like it better like that. So basically, from where you are now, just find the tennis page. From where you are now, just find the football page. But if you want to go to the index, you have to go to the parent directory, then you'll find the index. If you want to find the about, first you have to go to the parent directory, then you have to go to the about folder, then you can find the about. And so that's our navigation. The images directory, again, you have to go to the parent directory. From the parent directory, you can navigate to the images directory. From the parent directory, so if you're in the, we're in the tennis file, right? If you're in the tennis file, you would go to the home directory or to the parent directory. Then from there, you go to the images directory, and then you'd find the image that you want. That's what this is saying. Go to the parent directory, then to the images directory, and then you'll find the file that you want, which is tennis, whatever. So because this is a tennis page, we've got a tennis image there. All right, so that's that one. Looking back on this, now we've looked at welcome, we've looked at tennis. Football is basically the same as tennis. If we look at it, you could just take the tennis thing, copy it, change the names, from football to tennis. Very little that you have to change. But let's have a look. Let's see if we can find it and see if that's true. If we look in the sports, you'll find that it's so much the same, right? Open the code. You can hardly tell the difference. It's basically a copy of it. All that we've done is change the title, change the welcome, and hold on. Welcome. It says welcome to football instead of saying welcome to tennis. We've got our navigation menu is going to be exactly the same. And the only other difference is this word here, football, and we change our image to football. So those two pages are almost exactly the same. The trickiest page is the one that we're going to look at now, which is the contact page. Now, why is it tricky? Because it's got a table in it and it's got a form. A table and a form. Otherwise, and those are things that you've done. So you should be able to do those two. Okay, but let's look at how that's done, how that's achieved. Okay, so in the about page, all right, so everything above there should be fair. It's the same, and you could have copied that from any one of those other pages. All right, so what we've got that's new is we've got a table. When I say new, it's only new to today's exercise. You have done this before. You've done a table. So that's not really new. So you should be familiar with the idea of a table tag. Now look what we've done with this table. We put it in the center of the page. We got a caption. That's nice. So the table's in the center of the page. It's got a caption, sports contact information. Sports contact, there's a caption. Caption is kind of like a title for this, right? Then the different rows. At the top is the headers. So this first row here has got name, sport, and phone. This header tag that's weird. So that doesn't look quite right. I think I need to, there we go. So, so we've got headers, which is these are going to be styled differently. So what we've done with the headers is that whenever there's a TH, it's going to have a black background and a white text. And we can see that here. There's nothing to indicate that here, except that we have linked to the style sheet. So that information must be in the style sheet. And you have seen that. So in the style sheet, we have styled the table. And so in the header, the table heading, we put the background color to be black, and we put the color of the text to be white, and we've made a small text. And so that's how we've done that here. That's how we get this first line, which is the TA, which are all THs, first row, I should say, because we use that term row, don't we? So there's our row in the table, the first one, and then we've got another row. That's our next row, and then we got 3 rows, right? The other rows are not that sort of striking. They just have a little bit of text on each one. We haven't done any special styling. Let's see what styling we have done on the TR, if any. Nothing. So TR is the TD, sorry. The TD is made the font really small. Okay, so yeah, and it is. So that's what we've done there. Yeah, so that's not everything in the about. We've got our table at the top. Then after the table, we've got a form, and you should be familiar with the form by now. Basically the same as what we've done already. And this one is kind of simple. All it's got is input type. We haven't even done any email type or date type or anything like that. You know how to do those because we did those yesterday, but this one is just input type. And yeah, there's a form. It's got an action. So when we click on the submit, it should go and run the action page. That's probably why I put in the directory of the about, the action page, HTML. So how does that work? Yeah, there's nothing, as I said, there's nothing special about these. They're just text. Even, yeah, I mean, it's not really a proper email field. You've seen a proper email field yesterday. But this one is not. But when I press submit, well, it doesn't find that file. So that means that the action page, I spelled it wrong or something. Yeah. Action page.html. It's, oh, you know what? So let's go back to the about. See what happened? I went to the root instead of from the current directory. Aha, that's why it didn't work. All right, so save that and run it again. So little mistakes like that, they're easy to make, especially if you're doing something in a hurry like that. So let's go back and now we got our action page working. So that's the website. I'm going to stop just for a second, pause really. So the question was, can we see the action page? Fairly simple. We just got in the body, just one little thing saying it's an action.
Mister, is this PHP or HTML?
Not you. Okay, so very good question. Thank you for that. So in our exercises, don't use PHP at all. This is an HTML. PHP won't work.